What?
There should have been audio with that.
Kunite Alawa. I don't speak Hatties. There we go. That'll do.
That'll have to do.
What was that?
Well, that was a bit of a fail.
It's up to a bad start. I'm not jizzed up.
Oh dear. Continuing where we left off from last time with jizz wallering all over the place.
I can't get over it. I've told everyone I know. I'm like, you won't believe this. This is wild.
Yep. Matt didn't have no idea either when I told her. She just, was in stitches. Like,
I came off the last recording and WhatsApp's like 10 people being like, you'll never guess what I just I was up for another 3 hours of linking Wikipedia articles, being like, no, look, it's real.
Yep.
I'm still obsessed with it.
Well, apparently you still up on the last show, so there was no jizz to start this one.
There was no jizz to start this show, man. I need a bit of jizz to pump me up.
Oh, well, I'll have to make sure it's back for next week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Sith and Scoundrel podcast where apparently we are just talking about jizz the entire time, which we do talk about music, because it's what we do. No, we're talking about Star Wars, and we're here to talk about, continue I look back at I want to say the Book of Boba Fett was the Book of the Mandalorian this week.
Wait, we could. I'm Matt. This is DJ Jizzy Jeff. Changing my name next time. That's it. Jizzy Jeff. Book of the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian. But I have resumed with Rebels.
Excellent.
And I am absolutely enamored with it. To the point I got up to, I had one more episode, which is where Chopper steals a leg. and it's
great fun.
And it's Alan Rickman bot.
AP5.
I know it's not Alan Rickman, but it's Alan Rickman. It's meant to be Alan Rickman. I went and researched it. I was like, is it? No, it's someone doing an impression of. And I was like, okay, still kind of kiddie. And then, my God, this is one episode, and it wasn't for kids anymore. Like all that stuff in the Sith Temple with like Maul and Vader and Ahsoka. Oh.
What I love, though, is there is basically no wind on Malachor. Vader's making his cloak billow with the Force because he's that badass.
Oh, dramatic. But I love like Maul trying to steal Ezra as his apprentice.
Yeah.
But like, oh, we need to open the doors because it's a rule of two. And I was like, this is great. And like Ahsoka squaring off against Vader. And like, my God, there was that one hurdle, and then it's just amazing. Like, dude, Ezra picking up like the Kylo saber.
Yeah.
And igniting it, and then like the way Vader gets smashed up like in Kenobi.
Yep.
And it's basically the same as in Kenobi, actually, which I found really interesting.
It's the other side of the face. It literally mirrors, so it's the other side of the face.
But it still kind of says, I killed Anakin Skywalker at that moment.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is where they got it from for Kenobi. Okay, that's awesome. And like the Sith holocron was great. And then in fact, I paused on my TV above me because I was literally just watching it before I jumped on here. Just on the Wedge Antilles episode.
Yes.
He flies along and he's like, I'm Wedge. I was like, no way! Like,
and Hobby.
Yeah, and Hobby. Yeah, okay, and Hobby. And Wedge. And like, the way season 3 starts, like, Ezra
season 3 is the best by far.
Thrawn like the holocron, like it's really interesting. Like I said this to you, and I thought I'd save the embellishment for like now.
Yeah,
but I found the parallels between the Sith holocron and the One Ring really interesting. And this is when I messaged you and said that I really liked Bendu.
Yes, the one in the middle.
It was Tom Baker, wasn't it? Yeah. And I was like, he's Star Wars Tom Bombadil. Because, like, anyone that's not familiar with the Lord of the Rings mythos, when Frodo meets Tom Bombadil in the woods, Tom Bombadil gets the One Ring and is like, oh, what a curious trinket, puts it on and it does nothing. He's like, well, on your way, and it sings at them a bit. They've got the holocron, which is basically the One Ring, right? It's whispering to Ezra, it's giving him advice, he's winning battles, it's making him really powerful, and then Kanan gives it to Bendu, and he's like, oh, this is nice, and it does nothing to him. Great character. Really good. I really liked Bendu, but that's that kind of archetype I like of really big characters. Quite wise and stuff. Yeah, loving it. Absolutely loving season 3. Properly. Like, Thrawn's great from what I've seen on so far. The Wedge stuff's great. I like that the Rebel fleet is building. Every time you see it, it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
A-Wing pilots are terrible.
Yeah, they are.
They really like getting blown up, which is annoying.
No shields.
Battlefront 2, I played A-Wing quite a lot in Star Assault, but okay. Yeah, it's cool stuff, man, and the Kanan stuff's great, and like Sabine and Ezra.
Thrawn is my favorite part of season 3. He is such an intriguing villain, and obviously it's played by Lars Mikkelsen, of course, the brother of Mads Mikkelsen, who's in Rogue One as Galen Erso. But it's just the cadence, the way the voices, the way it's all so well thought out and planned out. Everything is just the little victories he lets them have to get the next piece of the puzzle he needs. It's just, yeah, it's so well done.
Season 3's dropped in a really, I think they break out Hondo. I was super happy. I was like really happy. He's like, oh, you have to rescue my friend as well. It's like, Purple Man, Mandalorian, Ezra Bridger.
Yep.
I was like, oh, Hondo's back. I'm so happy. And yeah, you've got the Thrawn stuff, but like when Maul captured the crew of the Ghost, I was like, it was just like, give me my apprentice, Kanan Jarrus. Like, oh, he's just trying to steal Ezra, and it's excellent. Yeah, I felt like that last hurdle was the Chopper stealing the leg episode, and from then it's just like gone into this nosedive into being quite dark.
Yes. 100%.
Interestingly, Clone Wars, it was around season 3 that did the same thing. Yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. Thoroughly enjoying it. I've literally, the bit I paused at is the scout trooper, and you've got Hera's parents are riding the squigs.
Oh, you're on, Hera's Homeworld.
That's it, and the squigs jump on the Ghost, and the scout trooper's just like, oh no, and Zeb's just like, kid, have you got this one? Well, that wasn't a bad Zeb. And they take the scout troopers bits and pieces. That's what I'm up to. But yeah, really, really enjoying Rebels. Like in a really big way.
Now when you watch Mando, you then understand all our excitements for Rebels when you see Zeb appear. Because everyone else just Rebels fans like, it's Zeb.
He looked excellent as well in that. So really trying to smash through before Ahsoka now.
Yes.
Really trying to get through before Ahsoka is the goal. But yeah, I've put everything on hold. Like I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, that's gone on hold. And everything's gone on hold to try and get through Rebels now in the next couple of weeks.
I've been actually listening to the, because I can't read like I used to, but listen to the audiobooks for Thrawn. So the complete unabridged books. I've listened to the first trilogy. I'm just started the second book of the second trilogy. So I've been working my way through that for the last few weeks. It's interesting because the second trilogy is a prequel, so it's all about Thrawn's origins, where he comes from, like how he goes to the ranks and stuff. But the first trilogy is intertwined with Rebels, so there's bits in the second and third book that's partway through season 3 and then partway through season 4 and all the rest of it. So actually you can kind of link it all up to where he is in the show, so you can know where his TIE Defender project is coming into it. And also they talk about Stardust, which of course is the Death Star. So links then Rogue One into it. So actually, properly, that means Timothy Zahn, who wrote the original Heirs to the Empire trilogy, which was Thrawn's origin. Oh,
they brought him back for that. Yes. Excellent. I'm familiar with Heir of the Empire. That's great. I didn't realize that one. That's cool.
Yes, Timothy Zahn wrote the original. He's then written both these new trilogies. I think he's got a third one in the works as well, which wouldn't surprise me. And if the Mandoverse film is going to be as the Empire, well, there's no one better to have in than Timothy Zahn to help write it and help bring it along.
Well, yeah, they said it's going to have what's the name of the? I'll find it on Google, but the book trilogy, because they're current, aren't they? They're current law now. Or the canon, I should say.
Well, the Epic Empire is Legends, whereas the Thrawn and then the Ascendancy trilogy, so the first, second, those are the new canons. Those are canon, but the Epic Empire is kind of it's Legends, but they're taking from that and kind of adapting it basically for where we are.
Yeah, okay. I'm really digging on Rebels now, like in a big way. Now, like the rebellion itself is growing. Thoroughly enjoying that, and Chopper's a lot less annoying. And like, there's a lot of characters in it at the start of season 3 with like Hondo and Maul and Thrawn and everyone else. So
yeah,
keeps you up to date. I found it really funny in the last one where they turn around to be and they're like, "You go, you're the least inconspicuous." I was like, she paints everything really bright colours.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
So that is a hair black. It's the old Clark Kent kind of way of doing things. So put glass on. Oh wait, no, the guard's not here anymore. It works. Also, you got Chopper, who they just repaint time and time again, and send him in.
I'm enjoying it, dude. I am thoroughly enjoying it, more than I thought I would.
I mean, we finished up season 3 last night, so we just started season 4 now. So not that far ahead of you. So
Ahsoka's meant to be what, season 5 technically?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to cut through this quite quickly then. The next few days. Well, this weekend I've got quite a chill weekend ahead of me, I think. So I'll knuckle in and watch a lot of that. So yeah, enjoying it big time. Really nice to see Hondo back. Really nice. I wasn't expecting more at this point.
I am really hoping in Ahsoka they bring back Hondo. Bring Hondo to live action. That's all I want.
That's all I want to. Oh, he's so good. He's so good. Purple guy. Mandalorian. Ezra Bridger.
Yep, I love it. And there's also like you have I was friends with the Jedi once. At least I think we were friends.
Every line he says is absolutely golden. And like we were talking about Star Wars Shatterpoint before this. Like I want to buy the crew from Rebels, even as a painting project, because they look great.
They do,
yeah. What they showed for them and the original trilogy stuff, but I desperately want them to do a Hondo and his pirates. I would buy that. I'd be all over that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And to be fair, there's also the book Pirate's Price, which is how the story of how Hondo got the Falcon.
You said
the audio version is read by Gene Cummins, who does the voice of Hondo. So you have Hondo making pew pew noises. It is fantastic.
Love that character, man. But I really like what they've done. Watching Maul's continuation has been incredible as well. Going from the end of Clone Wars with like Mandalore going wrong and everything, and then now, it's so good. The Maul stuff is absolutely excellent, and I didn't expect him. I know there is a point where he comes back and goes against a certain Jedi, but I wasn't expecting this early in Rebels. So that was a really nice kind of thing in that temple, and how he was like, I don't like the Sith. And I'm really liking the Inquisitors. Like, I think the Inquisitors are amazing. I really like the Inquisitors.
Oh, they are awesome. I'm still not a fan of the helicopter blades, just for them actually flying with it. But apart from that, I absolutely love them.
Yeah, I think they're great. I don't necessarily. I can suspend disbelief if Ezra's lightsaber shoots lightsaber bullets. I can live with fan blades.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can live with them, and you get a similar one in like that first Star Wars Vision, don't you? Which is that feudal Japan one, where like the weird lightsaber umbrella ignites, and it's like Mary Poppins, sort of. Not Mary Poppins, but
Mary Poppins, lightsaber. Yep.
Be good children.
Oh,
yeah, it's good. Right. Book of Mandalorian. Chapter 6.
Indeed. So, this episode...
This is where it got good.
So, we left last week talking about how this could have and should have been its own holiday special. Now, the holiday special was, when it comes to Star Wars, aren't exactly said with much fond memory. If anyone's seen the holiday special, you know what I'm talking about. They are... it's a thing. It is a thing.
I haven't watched. And it's complete, tangent. But I was watching a lot of the Muppet Show, like classic Muppet Show on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Which I've just realised how on brand that sounds. But I watched the episode with Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
where he's running around as Luke Skywalker with the Muppets, and I was like, I think I can accept the holiday special if he's running around. And he was more like, I wanted that version of Luke on screen where he's running around, crashing through doors, screaming, "Remember Alderaan." I was like, where's this Luke in the films? Because that's amazing. Sorry, just a holiday special reminded me of him on the Muppets, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I would happily watch that more than the original holiday special. That's for sure. But yeah, this episode, okay, it's important for what happens next, but it really, I mean, it doesn't fit with the Book of Boba Fett. It has nothing to do with, apart from the end where Fennec Shand appears, there is nowhere to link it to.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting you say that because I've never thought of it like that. And I'm trying to think about like another film series that's very dear to my heart. It's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And when they did the Guardians holiday special, it's incredible. It's so good. And it marries 2 and 3 together while giving us that kind of content in the middle of it. And I really loved it. And it's, you know, you go into Guardians 3 having watched that and you get some of the extra jokes and you get some of the extra nods and things, like at the end they're reading a newspaper and it's just like Kevin Bacon abducted by aliens. If you've not seen the holiday special, you don't get it. So I'd never thought about the Mando stuff in Book of Boba Fett being a holiday special before until you mentioned it. And I kind of, having not thought of that, watching Book of Boba Fett, when Mando turns up, I was like, oh boy! You know, I got really excited about it, which is very interesting. Because I just don't, as much as I love him, I just don't think Boba Fett's strong enough to carry a series on his own. He's a side character from 40 plus years ago.
He's the side character.
Yeah, I don't think he's strong. So I feel like bringing Mando in, I can't believe I'm about to say this, because I write caveat, I loved the second half of Book of Boba Fett. Everything from when Mando turns up to the end, I really dug.
Oh, it is much better. We'll be talking about that over the next few weeks for sure.
Yeah, every part of me feels like bringing Mando in made Boba Fett irrelevant in his own series. And did it really need to happen? But did Book of Boba Fett as a series have to happen when we have The Mandalorian? Yeah. I don't think it did. And it showed it by bringing in this new character who we all love dearly, and everyone's adopted space baby Grogu. You know, and you bring that in, and suddenly Boba Fett's irrelevant, and Fennec Shand is irrelevant, and everything that's happened on Tatooine is irrelevant. And Danny Trejo's great, but he's irrelevant because there's Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
If you get my meaning. So, yeah, that was interesting. You're right, it should have been a holiday special, but I don't feel like the storyline they were going with the Book of Boba Fett would have been strong enough to carry on its own merit without it.
No, I agree with that. I think what I think could have happened though is they could have had this episode air as a special before then the Book of Boba Fett aired, because you could then have it literally tie it all together, but gives you that bridge for Mando for season 2, season 3. Kind of it kind of ties the pieces together well, but where it's sat, especially in the Book of Boba Fett, it's kind of I know it's supposed to separate the flashbacks from the present, as it were, but even that was done in the wrong kind of way. Because we said those flashbacks should have been their first few episodes. Here's the past, here's the present, here's what's happening now. The rest of it, it could have right things wrong order. And this, although I love it, and it's very much also it's very out of style for the Book of Boba Fett. And what I say by that is, you are a big Iron Man fan. And obviously, when it comes down to, especially Iron Man 1, when it comes to Tony Stark building the first suit in the caves, and then obviously building when he gets back home, it is very much, here is how Iron Man becomes Iron Man. Well, this episode of the Book of Boba Fett, which is The Mandalorian, it's half of it is literally them going, okay, we need to build you a new ship. And it's so Favreau. And it's so, because when they go out to Beggar's Canyon, it's like, okay, when he goes, right, let's push it, let's see what this thing can really do, and flies it out of the atmosphere. I'm like, it's so Iron Man.
Yeah,
I
but
loved it.
I love Favreau and his vision, so I was just full of glee and joy watching it.
I'm not criticizing it, but the problem is that's what it feels like. It feels good, but it doesn't then feel the same as the rest of the Book of Boba Fett.
No, it doesn't. You're right. And, there's a reason I refer to Book of Boba Fett as Mando Season 2.5.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it is. And I feel like when he turns up, it completely eclipses Boba Fett, which is fine. But just, if he wasn't in it, the Book of Boba Fett would have really dragged on and had no real point. Maybe if Mando wasn't in it, we would have had more Cad Bane.
Yep.
Which would have been very cool because I feel like he looked incredible. But yeah, you're right. It does absolutely swing in with Jon Favreau's touch. And it's a great thing to behold.
Oh god, yeah, I'm not criticizing it.
But I know what you mean. I get what you mean. It's like you're eating, I don't know, like you're eating McDonald's 99p cheeseburgers and someone then offers you a Five Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go, num. These aren't bad. What is that?
Yeah.
That's wonderful and it's great. And
it's essentially the same thing, but this is so much better than this. It's
yeah, you're and it's just should have kept Boba as a side character in The Mandalorian.
Because the worst bit is we'll talk about the latter half in a bit, but the next episode, which we'll talk about properly in the next show, you have Boba Fett basically standing by doing nothing, looking cool, as Mando's doing his thing. It's like, the problem is, that's what Boba Fett does best. Stand by, does nothing, looks cool.
Do you know what? If Mando wasn't in it, I would have liked Boba Fett to have just learned more about his heritage.
Yeah.
And gone to try and find more clones. Gone to find family.
Yeah.
Which he's never really had. If you look at Clone Wars and stuff, you got Cad Bane and Aurra Sing and that lot. You've never really had any real family after losing their father. And I would have loved it if just get right Tatooine off and just have him go, there's other clones in the galaxy. I have brothers.
Yeah.
That would have been like that bit in the bit in Rebels that I love, where they go and find Rex,
Wolf, and Gregor. Yeah,
on like the houseboat Republic tank, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was so orky and so Necromunda-ish. There's living in this tank, and I really dug it.
Yeah.
Why could Boba Fett not have gone and done the same thing? Why could he not have gone and found maybe not Rex but other clones?
Yeah.
And that would have been a very interesting angle to take it, because instead of becoming this benevolent daimyo, why if you used Boba Fett to effectively resurrect the Bad Batch?
Oh, now that would have been cool.
Not the actual Bad Batch themselves, but go and find these clones who are lost in the galaxy, and they turn into a merc unit. Yeah. That would have been really on brand with what we know as Boba as a character.
Yeah.
And 5 Tamara Morrisons is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have gone that way. Because there was one of those great sets in Mando Season 1, which is the prison breakout. With like Bill Burr when you first meet him and everything.
Yeah.
Really cool, constricted, like confined episode. So yeah, Boba going to look for clones, and we know from Kenobi they're about and all this kind of thing, and we know from Rebels the Empire deemed them irrelevant, and we've seen that trope in Rebels where they go find clones who don't know that they're clones.
Yeah,
I think of it happening twice. There was the one that was the farmer, and there was the one that the droids and the little general found.
Yes, yeah.
So it would have been fine. It would have fit in. And I thought if you went that route, it probably would have been a lot stronger, and it wouldn't have needed Mando in it. And then Mando could have dealt with, and you get a divide. Then you've got the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, our new T-faced overlord.
Yep.
You get him dealing with the Mandalorian stuff with Bo-Katan, and let's have Boba get a resurgence for clones.
Yeah.
And he could do in parallel the same thing.
Yeah.
Resurgence of Mandalore, resurgence of clones.
Yeah, because the other important thing in this episode is you found out about the Mandalorian Purge and the
Yeah.
Empire. What happened? You saw the destruction of Mandalore.
Yeah.
That's a bloody important bit of information when it comes to the Mandalorian.
You know, it's also like a very interesting thing where Boba meets Bo-Katan's lot in The Mandalorian, and it's just like, oh, you want a real clone? Oh, you want a real Mandalorian? You're a clone.
Yeah.
When they're in the bar and he gets in that fight and they kick each other's ass.
Yeah.
Like, have him have a crisis of faith
Mm.
and go, maybe I'm not a real Mandalorian. After spending time with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, have him go, maybe this isn't me, and I have brothers out there that I've never met before.
Yeah.
And they are my brothers because, much like the Primarchs with the Emperor, you know, they're created from the same gene seed.
Yep.
And have Mandalore explore and flesh out and carve a new thing for Mandalorian lore, and then just have Boba go and do it for clones that exist in the current universe in that time.
Mm.
And that would have been a really strong series, because him being a merc unit, going and breaking clones out, whatever they are, maybe they're in prison, maybe they're in trouble, maybe they're mercenaries themselves.
Yeah.
Would have been cool to have them explore his heritage. And I was like, yeah, that would have been nice. Have them explore and have them just cruise the galaxy.
Retirement home, break them out. Go, all right, doing the Expendables, but with clones.
Expendables, everything comes back to that film.
Yep.
Yeah, I've watched the trailer for Expendables 4, and I've never felt so happy in my life.
So good.
There's a bit which is just like, we need to save the world by stopping a submarine, and I was just like, of course you do. This is what you do. But you don't have that and just have them cruising around being like, we don't like Jedi. Yeah, and Boba Fett being like, right? Well, we don't like the Jedi. Right? Everyone I've met has been a dick. Just have that. That would be great. Yeah. Just a bunch of Jedi hating old men. That would have been rad. That would have been
the slave one to retirement one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My God. And I think that would have been great, and that would have been a far more interesting story. And Boba could have kind of stayed as a side-ish character, but then Tamura could have flexed it with his acting and done all the different clones differently. That would have been cool. And I feel like it would have been a stronger story, but the story we got only could last for 4 episodes before it got quite tiring.
Yeah.
And that's why you needed to bring Mando in. So I agree with it being a holiday special if what we got instead was a stronger storyline for Boba.
Yeah, agreed. Because I remember watching it when it came out and just sat there thinking this, although really cool, just doesn't fit with anything else that I'm seeing here. It was so different and so good. It is a cracking episode. And it brings up some of my favorite parts where you have obviously BD1. If you play Jedi Fallen Order or Survivor, you know BD1. The fact BD1's there was amazing. Also, Pelimoto obviously having dated a Jawa. It's just
furry.
Quite furry. Like, again, it's fun. You have these cool little moments, and
the Naboo Starfighter, dude.
Oh, it's so cool. And there's a petrol head. Obviously, I was sat there going, I don't know what these actual component parts they're talking about are, but as someone who's into cars and hot rodding and all the rest of it, I get this. I know what they're doing. I know how this works. It's just cool.
It was nice to see a Naboo Starfighter back in like the same chrome plating as Padme's ship. It was real like episode 1 nostalgia vibe. I mean, even before that, seeing Mando get on a bus, I thought was amazing. Like he doesn't want to be on a bus. No one does. And there was some real strings on the new ship when he goes and flies it, and it's like the same feeling when in episode 7 you see the Falcon fly again. Yeah. It goes off the ground and it bangs in the sky, and you just can't help but to get excited. It's the same feeling as when your car passes an MOT and you take it for a drive. Yeah. You know, or you've not driven for a long time and you get in a car and you gun it. It's that feeling. So, such a joyful episode. Yeah,
also, I got my current car, I got that for the first time. It's got over 200 brake horsepower on top. So I put my foot down that. I had a biggest grin on my face, like, aha! And this is what I enjoy driving. Okay, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it is that same thing. So when you've got Mando having N1 with a supercharger hanging out the bonnet, it's like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was cool.
They take the button that Anakin uses to fire the plasma spheres, and instead use it basically for nitrous. Like,
yeah,
I love
and it's potential that, and her being like, "I know you don't like droids, so I made you a second seat for the little one," and it's like, "Oh my god!" And it doesn't have the same personality that the Razor Crest has, but then it doesn't have like a Lotus. At least doesn't have the personality that a Ford Mustang has.
No.
Because there's just something about big, janky, throaty cars compared to high-end sports cars. One has no soul, one is full of soul.
Yeah.
But it was still cool. And it wasn't a Razor Crest, but that was fine. And then I loved it. I loved everything with the ship, Pele, and the Jawa stuff. And I think you see Ahsoka and Luke in this episode, don't you, as well?
No, that's the next one.
That's the next one. Of course it is. That's also great, though. That's so good, too.
I mean, if you want to talk about that, and we'll save the finale, basically, for the last one, then we're more than happy to do that. Because the next episode, for me, is also, basically, as a Luke fan, it's my ultimate Star Wars fantasy to see just Luke be a Jedi. And actually just it's again not very man.
Just be a Jedi tonight.
Use the fork, Luke.
Wait for Yoda while we sell, I guess, the soda. Do it for Chewie and the Ewoks and all the other puppets. Luke, be a Jedi tonight.
Oh, it's I do that. Though to be fair, though, if we're talking Mark Hamill doing singing, Mightiest Kong has to be up there though for that.
Yeah. I forgot all about that. So good. I really forgot about that. I'm going to listen to that after this.
It's such a tune. But, yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Talk about the next episode then. Again, this is where Boba Fett doesn't feature much in his own show.
He didn't really feature much in the Mando one either, did he?
No.
From remembering it.
No, but that's the whole point. It's Boba Fett standing there looking cool, doing what he does.
Yeah.
But in this episode, though, again, so he's there. His whole thing is, okay, so, right, I need to take back Mos Espa from the Pikes. Pikes are going to war. We need soldiers. We need muscle. We need to actually get this thing sorted. Also, the other little cartels here, they are not going to help. In fact, they're going to be a hindrance. We know this is going to be a thing.
Kind of wish they could settle on a design for the Pikes.
Yeah, the Clone Wars to Solo is the same, but then it's different for Boba Fett. It is slightly different, yeah.
And the Pikes are quite like the tall, very slender ones, aren't they? They're quite alien.
Yeah.
But the ones in Book of Boba Fett are quite squat.
Yeah.
And the ones in Solo, to a degree, are quite squat as well. And I almost feel there's 3 different design beats for the same syndicate, which I kind of get if it's a very large syndicate, but at the same time, it's quite confusing as someone who hadn't seen Clone Wars and watched this before Clone Wars, who then saw the Pikes. I was like, oh, they look completely different.
Yeah.
I like them.
The helmets have got the similar aesthetic, but they're also not the same. They're different. So it's very, you know what they're supposed to be, but they haven't settled on one thing specifically, which kind of.
No, and I get translating the Clone Wars ones into live action would probably be difficult, but it's Disney money, so they can do everything. Like Imagineering full.
Yeah.
If we can have a live action Hera, we can have a live action Zeb. We can have live action Pikes like that.
The Imagineers are giving us a live action Hondo. You can go and see him at Galaxy's Edge. Why can't we have that? Just give me that.
Oh, right. So after getting over the Jizz fascination for a couple of weeks, I was a complete side point. It just reminded me. I saw a video where Avengers Campus have announced there's like now Nick Fury has arrived at Avengers Campus, and it's just a normal dude who looks like a homeless man. And it's wild. You just watch, because it's based on Secret Invasion Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Finished that this week. That's excellent. That's
I've not
amazing.
even started it yet, but I will do.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. And the guy who plays Krennic has chops. He's such a good actor.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion. 10 points. But the Secret Invasion series, yeah, he's excellent. His Talos is wonderful. But you've got, they're like, Nick Fury now arrived, but it's Secret Invasion Nick Fury, who's old Nick Fury who hates everything. So it's just this dude walking around Disneyland with a scraggly beard and eye patch on and like a nautical beanie and a long black coat. You can't tell it's meant to be Nick Fury from the videos. And it's wild because it just looks like a homeless dude walking around. And I was like, at least go for like the iconic Avengers Assemble Nick Fury.
Yeah.
That's like the iconic one. Not Secret Invasion, get off my lawn. I've seen some things. I want to go back to space Nick Fury.
Yeah.
As a live action Hondo is great. Meanwhile, Nick Fury just looks like a homeless man.
Oh, that's true. When they announced Moon Knight, I did lose it when I saw it. That looks so cool.
Great series as well. I'm quite looking forward to the second season of that.
If and when they do it, I will lose my mind because as a fan of ancient Egypt, Moon Knight just blew me completely away.
Yeah, in a big way, it was fantastic, and he is a great character.
Yeah, and Ethan Hawke was spectacular throughout the entire series as well.
That episode where they're in the doctor's office, and Ethan Hawke just like, "What do you think's going on, Stephen?" Oh, so good.
It's just two ancient Egyptian gods absolutely hammering each other. It's like this has been. Where has this been in my entire life? This is incredible.
I loved the bit where he goes and visits. What's Ethan Hawke's character's name in it? Emmett.
Amunet.
He's
the god, yeah.
When they go visit the compound he's in, and he's just like, "Is Khonshu telling you to kill me now?" He's just in the background, like, "Finish him off." It's what he's waiting for. He's like, "No, don't listen to him. Just calm down."
You have Kentucky Fried Moon Night with
Khonshu's just screaming in the background. It's so good.
Yep.
That was brilliant. That was really.
It was fantastic. I mean, I have
with Jake Locke.
Yeah.
Your third personality. Yeah.
Yep.
They said it's going to be a one-off series, but rumor is for season 2 that it's going to be dealing with the ancient Egyptian variant of Kang.
What's his name? Ramsat.
Yeah.
Ramsat. Yeah.
Going to be dealing with that Kang variant.
Pharaoh Kang. Yes, I would be 100% on board with that.
That's because I don't know if you've seen that. I'm so off topic. I don't know if you've seen the Loki season 2 trailer yet.
Not yet.
Excellent. It looks like season 2 is going to be a lot better than season 1 was, in that halfway through the trailer, it's kind of like Wilson going, "Remember, you're the god of mischief." And he's like, "Oh, yeah." So I think we're going to get actual Loki being Loki, but it's dealing with coming to terms with a world or a reality that's run by Kang.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that season 2 of these Disney Plus shows is going to deal with different Kang variants.
Yeah.
So, and the guy who's playing Kang, Jonathan Majors, is fantastic. He's such a good actor.
Just going through a bit of legal trouble at the moment, which is why it's a little bit.
Everyone is, but Lizzo is now. I mean,
that's wild though. I read that and I was like, that's mental.
I'm living for the memes at the moment of like Homelander in The Boys talking to A-Train, where it's just like you put on weight. It's like Lizzo backstage. So good. But yeah, I think everything's going to deal with Kang. So the rumor is Moon Knight season 2 is going to deal with Pharaoh Kang and that variant. So Khonshu, there'll be some time travel. Khonshu will take Jake or Stephen or whichever personality is prominent at that time back in time to deal with that, with Scarab as well.
Yeah.
So that's what's heavily rumored. which would be
Welcome to Iron Man and Webheads. We talk about the Marvel Universe.
Oh no, not another one. We're going to review Marvel Universe from Phase 1 through to now. And why was Eternals awful, and why was Hawkeye brilliant, and why was She-Hulk completely underrated by people?
I didn't like She-Hulk though. I mean,
I
at
loved
the
it.
end, I hated the ending with
loved it.
absolute burning passion. I was like, this is just awful.
I really enjoy She-Hulk, like super enjoy She-Hulk. Actually, I gotta be honest. I thought the CGI on her wasn't great, and it was a shame when she was with Bruce and he looked amazing. But the story-wise and the stuff like Abomination and the therapy was genius, and I really enjoyed it. It was just fun. It was just camp fun, which was great. Hawkeye I loved. Falcon and Winter Soldier I thought was spectacular. Secret Invasion I very much enjoyed. It's not ranked as my top ones, but I'd really suggest Secret Invasion. It's very good.
Oh, I'm gonna be watching it. Watching it.
It's awesome, just for old Nick Fury more than anything, because Sam Jackson's great in everything. He's great in this, and there are twists and turns that you don't see coming, and recontextualize the entire universe. It's amazing. I can't speak highly of it enough, but I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is better. What are we talking about?
Well, speaking of Sam Jackson and Mace Windu, might as well get on to talk about some Jedi. Talk about Luke.
Well, look at that. 10%. Luke. Isn't this what they actually brought Mark Hamill back to mocap and say the lines? Is this the one?
Yeah.
Because I saw backstage pictures of Mark in the black robes with Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. So he did everything. They just then kind of went back and aged the voice and kind of de-aged and have a double to do some bits and pieces as well. So it was a mix, but Mark Hamill's there delivering the lines. For me, this was, as I said, I'm a Luke fan. I always have been, always will be. This was after his return at the end of season 2 of Mando, which I mean, I'm currently 3D printing a Dark Trooper statue to go in my collection because, again, I love that scene. Also, the Dark Troopers are cool, but that hallway scene was fantastic. Having Luke come back with R2 was brilliant. Now, as much as I do really enjoy the sequel trilogy, you have Old Man Luke, you have him being Jedi Master Luke, but you don't have Prime Luke. We kind of got a little bit from Return of the Jedi. This kind of obviously fills that gap. Yeah. So to see Luke be the Master, see him actually train, go through like he did with Yoda, but with Grogu's kind of the reverse aspect. I mean, he was a dick to Grogu with the little training toy just shooting the crap out of him and things, and he was, but it was Luke being the teacher, it was Luke being the master, and you have Ahsoka speaking to Luke about Anakin.
Oh.
If you've not seen Clone Wars, it'll hit you, but not anywhere near as hard. If you've seen Clone Wars, if you know, and Rebels, if you know Ahsoka, and you know Luke, then that scene just, it floored me.
I love how fondly, even after everything I've seen, how fondly Ahsoka still speaks of Anakin and how much she still holds him in a high regard. And, when she's looking at that, and it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. What is it she says to Luke? Like, you remind me of your father or something like that.
Yeah, very much like your father.
Very much like your father. And then, which is kind of heartwarming. It could be quite dark, but then you remember that Ahsoka really fondly remembers Anakin.
Yeah.
And you go to that line in Kenobi with Lars, and he's just like, it's like, I must train the boy. It's like he did his father. And that's like a crippling blow.
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost the same line.
Yeah.
And it's like a fatality on Obi-Wan, but with Luke, it's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, with Luke, it's very much the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I mean, your father would be a bit more reckless than you, but it's like that kind of, it's that kind of way of looking at it. Whereas, Owen Kenobi is just like, get the ice packs, you have been burned. Like, no, go away.
Oh, Lars needs the shades drop. Just to be like, no. That line was cold. So yeah, it's nice how fondly Ahsoka does remember Anakin, and Grogu's tiny chainmail shirt's adorable.
What I love though is, of course, Mando rocks up. He goes, I'm gonna wait here. So the droids just come along and just build him a bed to lay on.
Yeah, they do. Oh my god, they do. Yeah, I forgot about that. They do put him a bed. They just full on do it.
Yeah.
That's like Ahsoka's just like, you can't see the child, and he's just there, like in the background, trying to get visitation rights.
Yeah,
he's like peeking around, being like, "Is he okay? Can he see me?" And he's clearly like, "Look at me, sort of thing." And yeah, it's very, very sweet, and it's very sweet, and it's after the goodbye between them at the end of season 2, which is heartbreaking, that he's coming back, and I get the feeling that's not the first time he's gone to visit them. Do you know what I mean? He's so excited, and it's like that being at the school gates waiting for your kid after their first day of school excitement.
Yeah.
You know, Grogu, I want to see what you drew in Jedi school today. It was very sweet. And Luke giving Grogu the choice.
Yeah, so that threw me a little bit when it first happened, right? Because, like, where the hell did he get Yoda's lightsaber from, considering Yoda lost his? But basically, I found out Yoda basically built a second lightsaber. He didn't wield it, but he built a second one and kept it in his hut on Dagobah. So when he passed, Luke obviously went through his stuff and just found his lightsaber.
Luke was like, I'm going to rob him.
Yeah.
He's
Luke
dead, I'm taking his things.
Jedi Master Luke, what can I find here?
Book, score, lightsaber.
Yep. Oh, it's just life. But it works well.
Points at his face and everything. It's like, oh, you never learn, Luke.
Oh, I do love that scene though. Just in A New Hope, where he just looks right down the barrel of the lightsaber, like, well, that could have ended very, very shortly.
Yeah, Luke, you're an idiot, like your father was. He was a great pilot, a good friend, and a moron.
And he turned into a bacon sandwich.
Your father was a moron. Great pilot, absolute dumbass. Oh, you're your father's son. What? Yeah. I found the choice. I mean, the adorable chainmail shirt was adorable.
It was.
And I got no idea who made it.
Yeah.
Because it was Luke, like, crocheting chainmail in his spare time.
No, that was the armorer who made it.
Of course she did. I remember that now. I'm getting it mixed up with, like, the plate from season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it was an interesting choice when Luke was like, you can't have both.
You know which one he's going to take, though.
You knew he was going to take the chainmail.
Yeah.
You just knew he was going to take it. But why couldn't he have the lightsaber as well?
Yeah. But again, so this is one of those things that gave me something that I adore, which was more of Order 66. It gave more live action Order 66, more of the story, which then obviously builds up to season 3 of Mando.
That was rad. And it was heartbreaking to see that Grogu was on the Jedi Temple. Or he was on Coruscant in the temple when it went south. And I remember seeing that and the clone troopers in live action, like actual physical props.
Yeah. I lost my shit at that because I adore the clones. They're one of my favorite things about Star Wars. The Clone Wars era is something I adore, but I always was disappointed in the fact that for 2 and 3, because Lucas was obsessed with CG, that we never got actual suits of clone armor. The reason why Stormtroopers are so cool and Boba Fett was so cool because they had actual suits of armor.
Real armor.
So then actual see proper live action clones in clone armor was just...
And I tell you what, to bring it back around with that, what if the Boba Fett series was about him going and finding clones?
Yeah.
Having that Order 66 done like that would have just added credence to it happening.
100%.
if you get the flashback of that happening, and then Boba's going to find them in modern day, and then Boba comes back in Mando season 3 with his clone friends, and Grogu gets really weird about it.
Yeah,
it would have been rad. Yeah, it was very cool to see it.
Also, you could have had flashbacks to the Clone Wars, but done in live action. So, like Commander Pons when he gets killed by Aurra Sing in front of Boba. When
There
you
you
have
go.
like Fives, when the chip goes off, you could have had. You got Rex, you got Wolf. You've got so much. There's so much scope for what could have been.
And a lot of those clones survived.
Yeah, that's the thing with when the clones get decommissioned. So, Bad Batch season 2 deals with the decommissioning. They weren't just kind of all disintegrated. They were kind of left mainly to their own devices in some aspects. There's a lot of them still floating around in various guises. A lot of them join mercenary groups. I mean, you've got the homeless one in Kenobi.
You do have the homeless one in Kenobi. And you think about the clones that we followed through Clone Wars that Boba could have met again. Right, does Cody die?
Not as far as I know, Cody's in season 2 of Bad Batch.
So what if Boba goes and finds Cody?
Mm-hmm.
We know where Rex is. What if Boba's just like, what's your name? It's like, I was Commander Cody, sir, but now I go by Fulcrum.
Yeah.
But that would have been cool. You could have brought Cody into being part of that Fulcrum network in Rebels. That would have been rad. Rex could be living on a houseboat.
Yeah.
Cody could have been doing that. And yeah, God, that would have been so good. It just feels like such a missed opportunity now that we're talking about it. Boba going and finding his brothers and the clones finding a new brother that they never knew they had. A lot of them wouldn't have meant
scope there when you have like Bo-Katan talking to Boba going, I've had, you're a clone, I've had thousands of your voices.
Yeah.
My mid last year here, princess. Okay, badass line for Boba, but also there's the scope. Okay, he knows that there are 200,000 clones with a million more well on the way. There's like legitimately millions of clones. There's plenty of scope for it.
My favorite thing, one of my favorite things in the Mandoverse was the way they depicted the Remnant Empire in the first season. Not the ones that are rolling around with Gideon, the ones that are rolling around with the Bio. In that all desert-stained, chipped up.
Yeah.
And just doing that with clones for over time, they've had to fix their own equipment, and they've had to change it out, and maybe some of them paint their armor a different color, and it's like, this is like
a live-action clone Gatling gun. I would just be here for it all day, every day.
Yeah, exactly, dude. But you get over time, they've had to fix the armor on the move. Maybe they've had to replace it with Stormtrooper bits.
Look at Rex's from Rebels. He's not got a full suit left. He's got chest plate. He's got some bits and pieces here and there. He's got his helmet, but he got fat. Therefore, he can't wear the full suit.
No, exactly. But that kind of thing happening, and I feel like the designers could have gone a really long way in really individualizing the clones and making them like the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
going full ham and making them these different characters. And then, because inevitably, Mando season 3, where Gideon's trying to get Mandalore, and you get the fight. Imagine if Boba turned up with a bunch of clones.
Oh, that would have been cool.
This is what we could have had. That would have been super ace.
Add it to the list. We want Dr. Aphra, we want Hondo, and we want more clones. Simple as.
I would love Boba Fett leading a clone mercenary unit that go by a very cool name. And you could even have one of them whose helmet is still the Ahsoka markings.
What, 332nd? That would have been cool, yeah.
I imagine, in that universe, Rosario's Ahsoka seeing that helmet again would have been great. We can imagine a clone who's over time, half of his suit is Death Trooper armor or something. You know, you got one who's got no armor, but his sleeves are rolled up and his forearms are like covered in tattoos. Your heavy dude with the chain gun, with like a bandolier of ammo.
Yep.
One with a cape. That would be cool.
There could have been more.
I feel like that could have been a better story to tell. And would have led to moments like, oh no, Moff Gideon's pinning us on Mandalore. Paz Vizsla's taking covering fire. What's that in the sky? It's Boba Fett and some ARC Trooper gear.
Yeah.
It's the cavalry, and we're coming in to make amends, and that would be great. And Ahsoka would see the 332nd helmet again, and she would be like, oh my god, Order 66 was awful, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he'd established clones in the current galaxy.
Yeah.
And then, like, imagine if you could get to a point where, like, Rey met clones.
No, they will be dead by that point. It's too far.
Is it too far?
Yeah, because...
So, if Palpatine... If Palpatine can be there...
I mean,
but, You know what I mean? Like, it would be really cool to have them, like, meet Luke and Luke not understand the history.
Yeah.
And imagine some people from the 501st that's still alive now meeting the son of Anakin.
Yeah.
And not trusting him.
No.
Because they know what's happened. Be like, oh, Ahsoka being like, you know who his father is? It's General Skywalker. And I should be like, no. Like, no, what he did was unforgivable and we regret it.
That was that scene in Rebels where you have Wolf react to Kanan.
Yeah.
Kanan goes, wait, they're clones, lightsaber, Jedi, they come to avenge us. I mean, there's that scope.
So much story that could be told. From that. So, I think that would have been stronger. I like the Mando stuff. It's why I favor the second half of Book of Boba Fett, because I feel like it's a great story and it brings back better storytelling. You're right, it brings back the Favreau style visuals and it brings back everything that's great about current Star Wars.
Yeah.
Brings it in and you get the Luke nostalgia tug, you get Ahsoka and those very sweet things, you get Grogu just being incredible every time. Every time Grogu's on screen, he looks better.
Yeah, we go from a really horrible green vignette, just
how dare you
effect, to
how dare you take that back. Like, you're still adorable.
No, not Grogu. I'm talking about the visuals from the first half of the flashbacks.
Oh right, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking. No, Grogu always looks better. You go from this horrible green vignette. I'm like, you monster.
No, Grogu's adorable. No, I would never do that with Grogu. No, we go for those horrible visuals to punch at you with like nitrous button N1s and Luke and Ahsoka and all sorts. You get it's Star Wars.
It is Star Wars. Yeah. It's not Robert. It's Star Wars done by people who fundamentally understand Star Wars.
Then that's probably the best way to end on the show. Is that if that is, it's Star Wars done by Star Wars fans, not Robert Rodriguez, who is an incredible director. Don't get me wrong, but he takes Star Wars and puts it in his wheelhouse rather than making his wheelhouse adapt it to the Star Wars universe.
And it comes back to what I said last time about Multiverse of Madness. It's not a Doctor Strange film. It's the director of the Evil Dead doing an Evil Dead film in the Marvel Universe. Yeah. And Robert Rodriguez not doing a Star Wars series. He's doing a Robert Rodriguez series in the Star Wars universe. And you look at that, again, that episode where Boba comes back and takes out all the stormtroopers. What a great episode. He's clearly got some grit behind him. The man did, I think he did Planet Terror. The man's clearly got some grit behind him. Let him just do Boba recruiting a bunch of clones who are old and want to retire, but they have to do one last mission for some reason.
Yeah, give us Expendables, but clones.
Oh my God. Yes, that all day, every day. Yes, the Expendables, but clones. They've all got good code names and they're all awesome and fun and rip into each other and have great banter, and Boba's leading them, and he lives out the rest of his days with his brothers.
Yeah.
And Fennec Shand. because
There
she's
we go.
great.
How to fix the Book of Boba Fett. Scrap it, do this instead because this is better. Because that would have been so cool.
Need to hire us to write these things. Like, just you should go through a lens of what would be cool, and let's just make that work.
I mean, we've said it for years. You and I have been friends for many years, and gamers for years as well. And a lot of it has come down to rule of cool.
Yeah.
And the rule of cool applies to Star Wars in a big way.
Yeah, because there's things we don't need to see, and there's things that are great, and it's nice to see that I wouldn't have thought about. But I don't know. Clones Expendables would be amazing.
Yes, it would.
Done live
And they
action.
could get hired to do a job by Hondo.
Oh, yes.
Just have Hondo giving jobs to Boba and clones, with them occasionally teaming up with Dr. Aphra and Black Chrysanthemum and BT-1 000.
And we'd be like,
If you can find them, they are the clone team.
oh my god, that would be brilliant. Or like, Boba gets like a kill squad together, and it's like Boba Fett, Fennec Sand, Black Chrysanthemum, a Tusken Raider,
Yep,
and Cody, and a couple of clones, so like 7 of them,
yep, and
And
a
they go-
Jawa.
and a Jawa.
Yep, and a Jawa.
No, I don't need a Jawa. They need like Rio from Solo, but I know he's dead. But he was
Yeah.
great because they need a great pilot. But you get that together, and I would watch 10 seasons of that group of characters
Yeah.
just going to do random odd jobs in the science.
30 years ago, Kenobi went to Camino, found there was an army waiting for him. 200,000 with a million more well on the way. Fast forward, and they're all dead, apart from very few who now do jobs in the galaxy. If you can find them.
Yeah, give me like a dude. Give me a Tusken and Fennec and Black Chrysanthemum and Boba and
Yep.
Cody and a couple of clones. Have them cruising around in Slave One, just taking on jobs to stop the Empire. Be like, we have to stop the Empire. We have to stop Thrawn. Let's go take out this gunship. Let's go steal this ship. Let's go do this. Bo-Katan, do you need help with anything? Because I've got the perfect squad for it. Oh no, Black Chrysanthemum and the Tusken are getting in a fight again.
Yeah.
And that way, Boba's still like a support. He's leading, he's central, but he's a supporting character. He's got everything going on around him. Yeah, just do that.
Yeah.
I'd watch it. I'd watch 10 seasons of it.
Indeed. I'd be there with you for that.
Oh, and then just let's throw in Dash Rendar, played by Jensen Ackles. There you go.
Yep, I'm down with that.
Yeah. Jensen Ackles, Dash Rendar in that group of people. Afra turns up occasionally. As does Hondo. Done.
Absolutely done. Happy with that. And
Yeah,
on
that's
that
good.
particular awesome bombshell of, sorry, this didn't happen, this isn't real life, this is just what we imagine, that's going to be the end of the show.
Imagine all the people.
Now, we will be back next week. Any thoughts about afterwards about when we're going to do the show, purely because I'm in Belgium next Thursday, so I won't actually be here to record the show. And of course, we then got Ahsoka starting very soon afterwards on the 23rd, which is the Wednesday after. So we will get it all
And it'll be
sorted.
our first like live run through as something screening,
Exactly.
which is very exciting.
So we will wrap up the Book of Boba Fett. We'll get ready for Ahsoka. Matt will finish Rebels, so we'll finish talking about that as well.
I will
And we'll get everything all tickety-boo for that in the future as I drop my mouse to not end the show. As long as this time around I actually end the show rather than just exit the show and leave you completely stranded by yourself.
I didn't want to know what happened. It's okay.
Oh yeah, no, my tired brain just hit leave studio rather than end broadcast. So yeah,
That's awesome.
but we'll make sure to bring the audio back next time so we can fill your ears with jizz before we start the show.
That's true. We do like jizzing in people's ears.
Indeed. So it's good night. We shall see you next time.
Bye. La, 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 la.